afternoon from downtown Atlanta, and two of the best words for a sports fan. Game 7, the Bucks and the Hawks here at Phillips Arena. Just moments ago, Milwaukee's Scott Skiles reminding his team how amazing it is that they're playing here today.
We were 18 and 25. Okay, some magical person would have come in at that moment and said, "You guys are going to get to play in Game 7." We'd all raised our hands and said, "Hell yeah, right?" Okay, so we can't get caught up. What happened the other night? Just imagine if we won the first 3, lost the next 3, or vice versa, or if it had been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. Okay, it's just a one-shot deal right now. Let's go out there, give it everything we got, and all.
And it's vintage Scott Skiles who sets the tone for this Game 7. Mike Tirico, Hall of Famer, Hubie Brown, Lisa Salters is with us. Hubie, Brandon Jennings is 20 years old. He had a 55-point game this year. They need him in Game 7. How can he do it?
Well, he's had an excellent season, Mike. Just continue. In games 1 through 5 in this series, look at the stats. 21 points, shot extremely well in both categories. Now, in Game 6, he had a tough night, mainly because of the 1 for 9. Big thing for him is to read the defenses, Mike, and be creative.
Atlanta's got a bunch of good players, but the best is Joe Johnson. What do they need from him to get to the second round?
Well, Joe, 5 straight years at 20-plus points, Mike. Not surprised. You can see the points at 23. Good shooting. 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Typical Joe Johnson.
All right, let's check the starting lineup. Presented by Taco Bell. The same lineups for the first 6 start the only Game 7 of this round. Delfino, John Salmons with Jennings, the good defender, Luke Richard, Baamute, and Kurt Thomas, the veteran. For the Hawks, Mike Bibby plays his 6th Game 7 with Marvin Williams, Joe Johnson, Josh Smith, and Al Holford. As mentioned, here's Lisa Salters.
Hey, Michael, Brandon Jennings admits that he was nervous on Friday for Game 6. It was the first closeout game of his career, so I asked him how he's feeling today, and he says he feels good, although he says he woke up a little bit sick, a bit of a sore throat, so keep an eye on that. One Buck who has plenty of Game 7 experience, Jerry Stackhouse, said he didn't have a lot to say to the young fella today, but at breakfast looked at him and said, "You cool?" Jennings responded, "I'm ready to go." Stack said, "That's all I needed to hear."
So are we, Lisa. Let's go. This may be the least attractive first-round matchup, but it's a Game 7, and Gia hits shots early. John Salmons misses, rebounded by Josh Smith. Here's the recap. Home teams won the first 4 games. You'll see at the bottom of the screen the Game 5 victory in this building by Milwaukee with a great fourth-quarter rally, and really an ugly first half of Game 6 turned when the Hawks had the big third quarter to beat the Bucks in Wisconsin and force today's decider. And Bibby breaks the scoring seal.
Well, Mike Bibby did an excellent job in Game 6 with a lot of pressure. He relieved the tension by hitting long jumpers in that first quarter.
The Bucks have not been on national TV very often. We'll spend this first quarter getting you acquainted with guys like Carlos Delfino out of Argentina. But a very good shooting performance in Game 5. Salmons up against the shot clock, knocks it down. Hubie, he started this year with Chicago, was traded, made the drive up 94 north to Milwaukee. Boy, has he been a difference maker on this team.
Well, just think about it, Mike. He averaged a shade under 20 points a game in a regular season. Right now, in this series, he's doing a terrific job. He's right at 18. They need a big scoring game from Salmons and Jennings and then Delfino. You have to have your 3 key guys score points. Now, everything, if you notice, is going to be quick movement off the dribble with Milwaukee, and then they must get into the paint. Now, right here, you can see the eye on the scrape of the hand catches Mike Bibby right in the eye.
Initially, they announced the foul against the rookie Jennings, but they changed it to Salmons, his first. Joe Johnson, the stud scorer for the Hawks, 23 a game in this series. He's off, and a good rebound deflected to Kurt Thomas. How does Milwaukee win the game on this end because they struggled so much? We were talking about that penetration.
Well, Mike, there are 3 key guys have got to score big for you in this. And then also no excuses. In the first 5 to 6 minutes, read the referee, because the game is either going to be called tight or they're going to have physical play. We want no excuses. You know the game plan, read the defenses, and then let's counter what they're doing to us.
Luke Richard and Baamute, second year out of UCLA, had that nice move inside on Josh Smith. Marvin Williams, who struggled the 3 games in Milwaukee, was great in Game 5 here. Knocked down from the outside by Al Horford in his 3rd year out of Florida, where he won a couple of national championships for the game.
Now, the young, talented Atlanta front line all can play well on the baseline. They'll shoot a high percentage with those jump shots.
Carlos Delfino off the mark. Milwaukee had just a brutal shooting game in Game 6, and Scott Skiles admitted his team played tight. Bibby from the outside. Marvin Williams works inside. 4-2. UB, he had 2 in the last game after 22 in here in Game 5.
Mike, this is all about, can you take care of your defensive board? The teams that win Game 7, they do not give you the second chance opportunities.
Burton Thomas is long. One of the reasons he's playing is because of Andrew Bogut's injury, out for Scott Skiles' team from April 2nd on. This is Scott's first Game 7 as a head coach for the franchise. 2-6. They've never won on the road. All 3 of Atlanta's Game 7 wins over Hawk franchise history happening at home, including last year when they beat Miami, Game 7, opening round. Very talented Josh Smith.
When you watch Atlanta play, they isolate out on the wings and they allow their players to go one-on-one. There is very little movement. If they hit a guy in the post-up area, they'll let him go one-on-one. There's very little movement. So you can double team and play 3 against 4 on the opposite side of the floor and still get back to your man defensively.
And you saw Bogut there. It's such an absence. He was having a great season. Horford to the rack. And there's nobody there to stop him. Went right around Thomas for 2.
Well, we're talking about a ton of talent here, Mike. The front line of Smith, Horford, and Williams, all excellent off the dribble. They all attack the rim, and then they are terrific on the offensive board.
Bert Thomas, 15 years in the league, setting that screen on Salmon. You'll see the Hawks, they will switch a lot of screens to stay down here. Maybe the veteran acted to get that Josh Smith foul, his first.
Now, we had a trap, and once that ball got kicked out, when you rotate out, you cannot leave your feet. Now, it's happened twice already in this quarter. The man rotating out, ball fake, he jumps, and they dribble pass, and they dunk the ball.
Will Jennings be able to drive to get to the basket a little bit? Couldn't do it in Game 6. Ba'amute inside. Luke Richard Ba'amute from Cameroon. He's in his second year at UCLA. Really known for his defense, but a good offensive game as well when this team plays well.
Well, the Milwaukee Bucks front line, they are not post-up people. What they are is people who get baskets off of second shots and then off ball penetration.
Off the miss. Bucks with a chance to tie it here at 8 in Game 7. The winner gets Orlando starting Tuesday. Ba'amute lost the handle as he went to shoot. And here comes Horford.
Well, the Atlanta Hawks love the fast break.
Basket counts. And a foul. Kurt Thomas could not draw it. And Josh Smith will have a chance with a three-point play.
Now, when you watch Atlanta play, they're 4th best in the league in scoring out on the break. They get you 16 to 18 points every night. Josh Smith, all left hand. Even if he goes to his right, he'll come back to you left-handed. He is the only player in their first 6 rotation that is a poor foul shooter. Everyone else is in the 80s. Josh Smith in the 60s.
Josh Smith, 5 for Atlanta. Brandon Jennings, the rookie, 3 for Milwaukee. They are lefties, and when they go right, it's breaking news.
Well, the big thing here, Mike, there's a lot of pressure on the Milwaukee perimeter people to beat you off the dribble and get into the paint because they have no post-up game. Well, that's very difficult to do because of the athleticism of Atlanta.
Salmons is fouled, a pre-shot foul. And it'll go on Marvin Williams. He mentioned the officials, Hebe. It's Joey Crawford, Scott Foster, Greg Willard, all officials with NBA Finals experience in this Game 7.
Oh, this is an excellent group. They could not have sent better guys. The game will be refereed the same from start to end.
Delfino off the curl. Gets it back from Thomas. He's got to have a big offensive game. The former Piston, Delfino, to Jennings. This is the outside shot. Ba'amute fought for it, and it stays down here.
Now you can see the Milwaukee game. We're going to dribble, or we're going to come off of the screen, and we're going to dribble to get into the paint. If you close this off, we kick out, and then we shoot a 3. So there's pressure to shoot a high percentage in a three-point game.
Jennings able to save it, pressured by Smith at the midcourt line, and draws the foul on Josh Smith, and that's big. Very important player on this team. 2 early fouls. Josh Smith.
Josh Smith is very quick. Long arms, 6'10", long arms. He's in the top 10 in steals. The big thing is anytime that Jennings gets him, he's got to take him strong vertically, not horizontal from side to side.
And the last thing you want is Josh Smith, 45 feet from the basket, 7 minutes in the first quarter, picking up a second foul, bringing in Zaza Pachulia.
Josh Smith just yelled over here, will you two guys keep quiet? I'm in the top 10 in steals every year, all right?
Kurt Thomas knocks it down. So a trip that Atlanta thought it was their ball out of bounds. Instead, turns into a second foul and a three-point game. 11-8. Mike Bibby, all that Game 7 experience in the Sacramento days, as well as here with the Hawks the last couple. Salmons, they wanted a foul. Marvin Williams doesn't get a whistle. In transition, Salmons is turned away. Took Pachulia inside, and Zaza says,
Plenty of time here now. Read the clock.
They know Jennings is going left. They're defending him well that way. But if he starts hitting that shot, he gets really dangerous. That's what he did against Golden State when he scored 55 points.
Well, Mike, during the year, he's a very consistent three-point shooter. The big thing in this series, for the first 5 games, he did excellent. He loves to go to the left side of the floor and then fade for that three. So if I'm playing him, I know I've got to close him down and force him inside the circle.
A delay of game warning was called on Milwaukee. Mike Bibby was telling Joey Crawford, hey, he touched the ball. And Joey said, hey, relax. I got it. No doubt who's in control of Game 7. All tied at 11. Here's Horford. 4 to shoot. Rolls to the basket. Bibby will pull it.
I like it, Mike. The defense was excellent there. They played it perfectly. Kurt Thomas did not overcommit, played it well, and then allowed the guard to get over it and then apply pressure on Bibby.
Delfino wants to take Pachulia, going to back up and shoot it.
He's got to take Pachulia. Pachulia can't stay with him, Mike, after 2 dribbles. Because then once you get inside, now you got the potential of the three-point play off the dribble.
Out of the corner, Marvin Williams on. And the Hawks have missed their last 3 shots.
Mike, as long as the Hawks stay perimeter on Milwaukee, I'm happy. I'm very contented. They're going to punish us in the paint and in the post.
At one time, Kurt Thomas was the leading scorer in college basketball when he went to TCU. He knocks that down. A good deflection by Jennings. We'll push it back here for Atlanta out of bounds after this timeout. Milwaukee has scored the last 7. The 20-year-old Brandon Jennings trying to improbably lead the Bucks to the second round. Which player here, in order, got to 50 points fastest in their career? Well, you think maybe, I got Hall of Famers. George Mikan? Nope. Mikan, it took him 49 games to his career. Not Rick Barry, a prolific scorer, 30 games. Not even the Big E, 13 games. Gotta be Wilt Chamberlain, right? No, 8 games. Brandon Jennings hit 50 points in his first 7 games, faster than legends, faster than Hall of Fame guys. That's all well and good. It's one night. It's also against Golden State, so there has to be some sort of an exchange rate because of the lack of defense the Warriors play. But you saw him all year. What do you think of his
Mike, he's an outstanding talent. You realize the pressure on this young guy. You're playing without Bogut, your center, who gets you 16 and 12 boards and shot blocking, and without Red, a scorer who gets you over 20 a game. So with those 2 guys not being here, that's a missing 40 points guaranteed every single night. So he's playing now without a post-up game. The pressure on him is incredible to read the defenses and make all the right decisions. And then, oh, by the way, we still need you to get 20.
Yeah, score for us in bunches, as he has during this series, including 34 in Game 1. The foul was on Joe Johnson. It's his first. And the game's first turnover.
Right, Delfino's got to get it going. See, that's a bad mistake. Mainly because you had a mismatch. There was no double team coming. You do not need to go into him because you can just turn and go up over the top of him with ease. See, you could see the lead arm went out and he knocked Bibby back. Mike Bibby in Game 6 answered all of the isolations one-on-one that Milwaukee posed him, and he answered them all defensively and did a great job.
Delfino goes to the bench here, and the Bucks come in with a veteran, Jerry Stackhouse. Meantime, the 6th man of the year in the NBA, Jamal Crawford, has checked in for the Hawks. Big season for Jamal. huge scorer, especially in the fourth quarter for this team. Horford misfires, and the Hawks have gone cold. They've missed their last 4 shots, and Baamute is going to be called for a foul inside. Push it. Well, we have a second. We're talking about Jennings. Just a little bit about his story. Remember, he came right out of high school, went overseas, played in Europe, went to Italy, was criticized, didn't play a lot, but had very solid minutes, learned a lot about the game, and Lisa can add more about Brandon Jennings' rookie season.
Mike, I just wanted to let you know what he was telling me about that subpar performance on Friday. His cell phone blowing up with text messages, his email account, his Twitter account. I asked him what the best advice was. He said he got it from his agent, Bill Duffy, who told him to just play and leave it out on the floor. I asked him, what was the worst advice you got? He goes, well, my friends, of course, told me to shoot the ball every time I get it.
His mom is...
And that, by the way, that's why they're watching the game today, okay? And he's playing in the game.
That's right. Tied at 13 on the inside hoop by Johnson.
Okay, they're switching strong out here right now. They put a lot of pressure on you, so you can't fade away like that. The main thing is once you get the big guy on you, you've got to take him into the painted area and break the defense down.
Johnson missed inside. You see the size difference of the Hawks. Pachulia kept that possession alive and scored.
Mike, Ilyasova never left his feet. I mean, I know he was pushed underneath by Pachulia. Pachulia's 275 and at 6'11". So you can see early, can you take care of your defensive board? That's Milwaukee's first question. Number 2, can you get into the paint? Now just watch right here. Pachulia is giving us a big Z, Ilgauskas, to play behind and just jump over the top of you.
The NBA playoffs on ABC, brought to you by Taco Bell, think outside the bun, and the all-new 2011 Super Duty, built Ford tough.
Back in Atlanta, Game 7, the Hawks lead the Milwaukee Bucks by 2. All ABC News, Sunday, 9 Eastern Pacific, 8 Central. Tonight, the Betrayal and the Danger have moved back to Wisteria Lane. If you're looking for trouble, you've come to the right place. ABC's Desperate Housewives, all new tonight, 9, 8 Central on ABC. Let's take a look at who's primed to perform, presented by Gatorade. And Hubie, it is the time of the game when you get Joe Crawford. I was looking at Joey Crawford. Jamal Crawford, the 6th man of the year, who was one of the award guys, like Dwight Howard, the defensive player of the year, Scotty Brooks, the coach of the year at Oklahoma City, and Jamal, the 6th man of the year for the Atlanta Hawks. What a great season he had coming off the bench. Aaron Brooks in Houston was the most improved player in the NBA, and Tyreek Evans just named Rookie of the Year this past week. Brandon Jennings in Milwaukee finishing 3rd, and LeBron officially announced today as the MVP of the NBA for the 2nd consecutive season. Ilyasova missed the 3, and on cue, Jamal Crawford gets the rebound. Why has he worked so well as the 6th man?
Well, mainly because he can play the point for you. He can take Bibby out of the game. Or if Bibby is playing well, he can play the 2 guard. They move Joe Johnson up to small forward. So for the coaching staff of the Atlanta Hawks, it's perfect. Not only, now you can see in games 1 through 5, the points were 13 because he was struggling with his shot. But then he got it together in Game 6, which you know that through the course of the series, he's going to get on fire. Because he has range, 3-point, he's got the mid-range game, and he shoots over 85 on the foul line.
Jerry Stackhouse has filled a 6th-man role very well over the years. He was out of the NBA at the start of this season. Kept himself in shape doing that P90X thing, which is such a rage for everyone, and working out at North Gwinnett High School. Playing hoops and getting some run with high school kids. Kept himself in shape, and here he is back with the Bucks. Horford keeps it alive, and here's the 6th man of the year. Crawford. Marvin Williams, the weak side rebound, and right now, Hubie, it's all Atlanta on the offensive glass.
Mike, that's their 6th offensive rebound. Okay, this is something which we always say, you must take care of the defensive boards, especially when you're on the road with a young team, and you have the smallest front line in the playoffs. You have no one 6'10" that's going to get any playing time here.
Salmons takes Horford. Pachulia waiting for him. Couldn't convert. Zaza gets the rebound.
Mike, that's okay. That's the first time they've gotten to the glass off the dribble. Why? Everything has been a jump shooting game, and you're not going to beat the Hawks in this building taking all jump shots. You've got to get to the rim so you can get on the foul line.
Williams taking Stackhouse, couldn't get it, and it stays down here and it's out of bounds off of Milwaukee.
I thought Pachulia was in the Kentucky Derby yesterday. He was riding about 3 guys underneath the board. All right, up over the top.
There's Andrew Bogut on the bench for Milwaukee. What a great season. Double-double. He was playing the best basketball of his career, the former #1 pick, and had a really ugly injury to the elbow, wrist, and hand. You saw it in the pregame. That was on April 2nd, but he's wearing sweats here today. He is one of the 12 active players for Milwaukee. Pachulia spins baseline on Ilyasova, trying to throw it down, and the foul is called. Good move by Pachulia. Let me just go back to the Bogut situation here for a second, because he's been a suit like an assistant coach since the injury. But Charlie Bell is not dressed. He's inactive in a coaching decision. Not sure if it was a missed meeting, whatever it was. But Bell is not active today. And they dressed Bogut, a little bit of inspiration for the team. From everything I've been told, there's no chance of him playing. But he is out there wearing sweats. And Bell, inactive, a guy who has barely played in this entire series, just 8 total minutes.
Well, it's a wake-up call for the rest of the people, because when Scott Skiles is staying here as a coach, all right, it's about discipline, it's about accountability, and it's about being a professional and knowing your job. This is the height of the year right now. The pressure's on everybody in the Game 7. You can't be late for anything.
Luke Rittenauer came in at backup point guard to get Jennings, who was struggling. Stackhouse denied inside. Milwaukee hasn't scored in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, see, this is a good move. I like that move.
Down by Gadzuric.
Yeah, anytime that Horford has Ilyasova, he's got to take him. He did it in Game 6. He wants to get in the painted area. He's got a nice jump shooting game, but more important, when he gets in the paint, he's got the jump hook game or the power game. This young man has had an outstanding season.
Al Horford, whose playoffs were limited last year with the ankle injury, gets one more. TNT tomorrow night, Game 2. Cleveland trying to go up 2-0 at home in the opener of a good series. San Antonio, Phoenix. ESPN Friday night will have Game 3 of Cleveland, Boston, and Game 3 of the Suns as that scene shifts to the Alamo City. And on ABC, we'll have a primetime game next Saturday night with the Lakers in Salt Lake City for Game 3 against the Jazz. Of course, Game 1 of that series comes up next here on ABC.
Well, when you got Al Horford, you got a good defender, but you also got a guy who's going to get you double-doubles in rebounding and in points. And then one of the better shot blockers that we have up front. Right now, keep an eye on the Atlanta defense. They've been doing a terrific job in cutting off the painted area.
Yeah. Ilyasova had no open window to get it. It's a 9-0 Hawks run. It's a group on the floor for the Bucks who will struggle scoring, as there's a 2.5-second difference in the game shot clock.
Like, the Hawks are so long. They're tall with long arms, and they cover a lot of space out on the floor.
Jamal Crawford takes Luke Rittenauer into the lane. Couldn't convert. Williams is blocked by Gadzuric as the quarter comes to an end. See, we have a whistle because it was a shot clock violation before the buzzer ran out, and Joey Crawford, Greg Willard, and Scott Foster making sure it didn't touch the rim, because I said it was a 2.5-second difference, 2.7 on the clock.
Big thing right now, you want to pass the ball up the floor if you can.
And you got a foul to give. I believe Atlanta has a foul to give here.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, and Mario West, a good defender, comes in. So 2.7 with a foul to give.
Well, I like the move. Mario West came in, a good defender, and he's playing Stackhouse. Because right now, Woody, the coach of the Atlanta Hawks, does not want a long pass, and then you take 1 to 2 dribbles, and the shot goes up.
Also brought in Mo Evans for the same purpose. 2.7 to go. The Bucks in a scoring hole here, down 20 to 13. It'll be Stackhouse trying to get a running start. Missed it, and the quarter comes to an end. Milwaukee scoreless for the last 4:50 of that first quarter. Well, much like we had in Game 5, an offensive struggle for the Bucks, where they only scored 19, 15, and 11 in each of the first 3 quarters. Here it's 13, and after 1, in an elimination game in Game 7, with Orlando waiting for the winner. The Hawks at home lead by 7.
Welcome back to Phillips Arena, where the Bucks are down by 7. Scott, you guys didn't score the last 4+ minutes of that quarter. What was going on? What adjustments were you making?
Well, we came out of timeout, got a wide open 3. We just missed it. We missed a couple shots. The main thing is we got to get on the defensive board down there.
You were telling us before the game that you thought your guys came out tight in Game 6 and could never really calm down. How does the body language look now, and how do they seem to be doing?
I think it's okay today so far. I'm going to get Brandon back in and probably go back to my starters right now.
All right, thanks for your time. Mike?
Thank you, Lisa. That's a great question because Scott was very honest about that. He said, I've looked at my guys' eyes all year, and the look I saw in Game 6 was a different bunch.
Mike, they're shooting 30%, so there's a lot of misses. They have one offensive rebound. Not good. And they have not attempted a foul shot, so they cannot get into the paint.
Al Horford works it inside the paint. The points in the paint right now are +10 for Atlanta. As you see, the Bucks, guys who need to score, who did not in Game 6, are not here in the ultimate game, Game 7. Back to the starters on the perimeter. Delfino lost it because he was fouled by Mike Bibby. And that's the first on Bibby, first in the quarter, and Kurt Thomas set to come in for Milwaukee.
While you're watching this game, remember that Atlanta was #1 in the league in points in the paint. They get them in their offense, backing you down. They get them on the offensive boards, and then also finishing out on the fast break. And already today, they have 7 offensive boards, and it's 5-0 in fast break points.
There goes Jennings to the basket, and message sent after he sat down on the sideline.
Well, that's where it's got to be. He and Salmons, right now, they are 2 for 10. These are your 2 primetime scorers. They've got to get up and score and shoot a high percentage.
Crawford for the baseline. A guy who only played 2 years of high school basketball out in the Seattle area. Part of a great fertile ground for basketball. So many good players out of Seattle of late. And 1 year at Michigan. Jennings goes all the way inside to Hubie on back-to-back trips. He gets a field goal and gets fouled by Pachulia.
Well, they need him to get to the line. They need Salmons to get to the line because they're both mid-80s foul shooters. Now, keep an eye right here. Comes off the screen, splits the trap. See, Pachulia was late, and he takes him right to the rim. That's good basketball. That's how it has to be. When we said at the top, the pressure on him is to read the defenses. Here he could turn the corner and then also beat Pachulia, who is slow in the rotation. So there's a ton of pressure on Salmons, Jennings, and Ridnour to read off the dribble to make it happen because we cannot throw the ball into the post and get a field goal.
Jennings splits the pair. The foul on Pachulia was his second. Sends Zaza back to the bench. Josh Smith brings his 2 fouls back on the floor. Guarded by Bahamute, who also has 2. Crawford for the outside. He had a great shooting Game 6.
Mike, he's a great shooter. And then also he's an excellent passer. But Josh Smith is right there. He's second on the team in assists during the season and in the playoffs there.
Pick and pop. Thomas is long. Milwaukee's got to be careful here. It's down 11. They just don't have the horses. Atlanta is way more talented. Horford.
Now, Kurt Thomas knows better. He knows that he's got to get up on him. Get up on his right hand. If he drives baseline, that's where you're going to get help. But if you're going to lay off of him, Horford will take that shot. He shoots a high percentage from there.
It's the 3rd straight year these Atlanta Hawks have experienced Game 7, so they know how tough it is to win them on the road, how good it can be at home. And Jamal Crawford experiencing the playoffs for the first time in his career, along with Al Horford, trying to make sure that the Hawks' season rolls on.
Mo Williams last night. How much of an impact did his first career dunk as a member of the Cavs have in their Game 1 win? Completely swung the game in their favor. A 21-9 run to end the 3rd quarter. Let's go back to Atlanta.
Cavs up 1-0 there. Atlanta trying to join Cleveland in the 2nd round. And remind you, Sunday at Monday Night Baseball over on ESPN. Mets Phils tonight, and then tomorrow night over to the American League. The Angels, who might get swept in Detroit today, take on the Boston Red Sox, 7 Eastern. Sunday, Monday Night Baseball on ESPN. Last time out, Scott Skiles imploring his Bucks to turn it around. And how?
We went 4 minutes without scoring, okay? Now, we came out, we got a wide open 3, that's fine. But right now, we got to acknowledge that end down there has got to create offense for us right now. They got 4 or 5 Hawks jumping while the Bucks are nailed to the ground, and we're not boxing out. Get them out of there, rebound the ball, let's get the tempo back the way we like it.
sometimes you can draw it up, Hubie, but your guys got to do it. Right now, Atlanta's got more guys.
Well, also, yeah, right now they're in that matchup man-to-man half zone that they play. Atlanta. And what it is it's causing difficulty. Now, this guy is brutal in the open floor, okay? It's amazing that he didn't get fouled in that situation because he will make the pass and he can finish so strong.
Bahamute couldn't finish. Atlanta's length and athleticism showing here in this second quarter. Horford runs the floor on a nice feed from Crawford. It's 31-16.
Well, the Thoroughbreds are playing defense today the way they are capable. They're playing to their maximum potential defensively, and then they're killing you on second shot attempts and then also in the painted area.
Bahamute gets the rebound. It stops a 20-3 Atlanta run over the first and on into the second quarter. Similar to that 27-2 run that we had in the third quarter in Game 6. Delfino called for the foul. He had a hold on Jamal Crawford.
Well, with Delfino in there, as well as Williams, Delfino is playing defensively. He either plays Joe Johnson or he plays Crawford. Now they're taking him out of the game.
Luke Ridnour has come in for the Bucks with Jennings, who knocked it out of bounds, and Ersan Ilyasova, who we mentioned before, in his second year out of Turkey, number 7 for the Bucks.
Well, Scott right now is going to his 2 point guards. He needs some action, and he's hoping that he can get it off the dribble.
Wow. Speaking of off the dribble, Mike Bibby still has some at age 32 come 10 days from now.
Well, the Milwaukee Hawks, they have been all year a great defensive team, and that's what has to happen here right now. You got to start defending.
Here's Ilyasova, who we mentioned a moment ago, made the leap to starter. The first third of the season, third on the team. In games played, 81, scoring at 10 points per game.
I like this. This is smart basketball.
Well, it's 3 fouls, though, on Josh Smith. He bowled over Ilyasova.
I don't understand it today. The guys who have the mismatches are trying to back into the player, get the contact, but rather than take the trap, wait for the trap to get the split. Stop barreling over the man. You're going to get your shot.
Do you coach your guys when you have a size mismatch? You can't be impatient. You got to be patient to let it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, you have to read the defense first. Are they going to trap, which they just did? Then, once you put the ball down, and if you can split it, great. But do not go back into the defender.
So Smith picks up his third. Salmon scores. It's 33-22, and Ridnour picking up full court on Crawford.
Well, we've done Atlanta quite a few times this year. One thing about them, they hit lulls, 4 to 5 minute lulls, first half and in the fourth quarter. And for some reason, you get a chance to get back in the game.
Crawford missed. Bibby kept that one alive, and Williams inside is fouled. But credit Mike Bibby for keeping this trip alive. And what Scott Skiles talked about, rebound. And these guys didn't.
Well, Ilyasova is having a difficult time. The first time that he was in the first quarter, Pachulia just kept going up over the top. Now, right there, you could see once again, even though it's Williams, a small forward, they're basically the same side. Williams is 6'9" with long arms and great jumping ability.
One more for Williams, all new ABC Wednesday at 10 Eastern and Pacific 9 Central. It's the marvelous and the mysterious rolled into one. Welcome to ABC's Happy Town. Don't let the name fool you. Happy Town, all new, Wednesday at 10, 9 Central, here on ABC. Marvin Williams, who had back in 2005 the tip-in when the college basketball title game was tied at 70 with Illinois. He is off the bench on that North Carolina team, but led them in that game to a national title.
They just switched. They played it well, and then they just switched.
Kurt Thomas knocks down the jumper from the short corner.
Anytime that you can get into the painted area, you know that your big people, meaning your center and power forward, are open on the baseline in that midpoint area. It's open all day.
Good job by Jennings digging down for the steal, running with Ridnour. Oh, he went around the world for 2. Oh, man. How you doing, kid? Since that drought, Milwaukee is 5 for 5 from the field, and Atlanta's hit one of those lulls you talked about.
There we go. Now just keep an eye on this. See, Ridnour was wide open up ahead on the right-hand side. Now, in a situation like that, you better score. There's pressure on you to score because the guy up ahead on uncontested layup.
Bibby was chatting with the Bucks after the timeout.
The NBA playoffs on ABC, brought to you by Just Right, in theaters May 14.
Joe Johnson, Josh Smith, the Hawks chipping in, all part of the NBA, where caring happens. Well, Milwaukee, a little 8-2 run, Hubie, a little pushback to get this game back into single digits.
Well, it comes back to take care of the defensive boards. Let's try to cause some turnovers so you get out in the open floor. In the open floor, one Achilles heel of Atlanta, they do not get back well.
Bibby takes a three and knocks it down. At that last timeout, when it was called, Bibby and Kurt Thomas bumped into each other, exchanged glances, and Bibby wanted to come out and take a shot. And Horford throws it back at Jennings. It will be Milwaukee ball. Just a little bit of an edge added to this Game 7. Here's the timeout call. Jennings goes down. No harm there. Kurt Thomas walks over to his guy. Make sure he gets a piece of Bibby. And the glares lingered on through the back end of the teams going back to their huddle. Just kind of keep that on your radar here the next few. Ridnour on a switch. Air ball. Tough to shoot over Horford.
Yeah, that was close. That was close to almost getting a little piece of it. Just a little bit. But Ridnour, that's his shot. He loves the middle of the floor. He loves to get behind for the long jumper or the three-pointer. So if you pick him up on a switch and you're a big guy, Horford played him perfectly. He closed them right down.
It's an Atlanta team that won 34 at home this year. Magic Johnson talking about that pregame. This team's so good in this building all year. 53 wins, earning Game 7 at home. And Jamal Crawford amplifying the role he played so well this year. 7 points.
Mike, they have two great mid-range players, Joe Johnson and Jamal Crawford. And that's so tough because with the clock going down, they take you into that dangerous area and they just elevate.
Thomas, short on the shot. Ilyasova trying to keep it alive. Able to get it over to Jennings with a fresh clock. Ilyasova coming in baseline.
Nice.
Got Horford in the air and a chance at a three-point play. You know, Hubie, I'm watching that possession, and there's no Milwaukee guys in the paint. Obviously, they don't have Bogut, their interior scoring. How in the world do you develop an entire game plan when you have no threat of post score?
Oh, look, come on. There's a ton of pressure, Mike, on the coaching staff to get you high percentage shots. Well, if you're just going to leave and you're not going to run any set plays, and then you're going to play pick and roll in the middle of the floor or on the wings, well, now you are reading situations. Well, the Atlanta Hawks do not trap now. All they do is switch today, so far.
Right.
All they're doing is switching on the ball screen. Now it's up to your guy who has the advantage. He must get into the paint off the dribble. Ton of pressure on these perimeter guys.
Hawks through a defensive wrinkle at Milwaukee. Little zone here out of Milwaukee now. And the shot's off the mark, but Marvin Williams keeps it alive. That's always one of the issues with his zone. Tougher to rebound. Williams baseline. That by Thomas. And the foul's called as Ridnour and Thomas were there. Kurt will be called for his second.
There's such a difference here, Mike, not only in athletic size, but in athletic quickness. The Hawks just have so much size up front and then quickness off the dribble. They do not have to rely on their backcourt people to get in the paint. Everyone here can handle the ball.
One more coming for Williams. But to log on now to NBA.com, experience the most comprehensive playoff coverage on the web, including live press conferences after every game. In-depth analysis of every series and much more at NBA.com. Really, they have six. The starting five of Mike Bibby, Joe Johnson, Marvin Williams, Josh Smith, Al Horford, and Jamal Crawford. That's not disrespecting Pachulia, Mo Evans, guys who come off the bench, but those six guys have carried the lion's share of the scoring and the minutes for the Hawks throughout this series.
Yes.
Hoping they get Orlando on Tuesday for Game 1 down in Central Florida. Magic been working on their tan for a week. Nah, Stan Van Gundy's running them through hard practices. Who we kid? Salmon's off the miss. Horford goes up to get the rebound. Rebounding numbers eye-popping in favor of the Hawks. Johnson double, Bibby three. Write it down.
With Bibby in the game, you have the three-point threat, the high percentage three-point shooter. But then, because you have Joe Johnson and Jamal Crawford in there, they break you down. You go to help out any kind of a trap. The right pass is being made today. They're being totally unselfish. They're not forcing shots. They forced a couple off the dribbles into offensive fouls, but at least they're not forcing shots. They're looking for key people to hit the perimeter day.
Crawford was called for the foul, his first. What an impact he's had on the game since he came in. Ilyasova off the mark, and on the push, Crawford's ahead at Jennings. And a foul.
With Crawford in the game, he'll release. He puts a lot of pressure on your transition defense. If a guard shoots the basketball, your small forward and other guard must get back because the Hawks are so athletic. And then with Crawford in there, he'll leak out early, and then they have the long pass. And once the long pass goes up, he makes good decisions on the break because he's a good finisher and he's an excellent passer.
Jamal Crawford had gone 676 games in the regular season without making the playoffs. Came here as a sixth man and led the NBA in points scored for anyone who did not start a game. Rick Sun, the general manager of the Hawks, who has ties to the Northwest in his time with the Sonics, went out to Crawford's home in Seattle just to explain to him the sixth-man role, and it has been a perfect fit as a complement to the other five starters. 18-point lead for the Hawks, their largest here in this Game 7. Delfino is long, and the fans let him know about it.
We said, Mike, at the top, you have to shoot a high percentage in your threes, and you must get to the foul line because they're two places that you're going to pick up easy points, none of which is happening for the Milwaukee Bucks in this first half.
Over the limit now, Milwaukee, as Crawford comes to the line after Delfino picks up his third personal foul. When Crawford entered the game, it was 13-11 Milwaukee. 36-16 since. Here's Stuart Scott, John Barry, Magic Johnson, and Michael Wilbon joining us for the T-Mobile Halftime Report. We'll break down this first half, preview the opener of round 2 in the West as the Utah Jazz are at Staples to take on the Lakers. What a great finish that Laker game Friday night over on ESPN. Kobe actually didn't hit the shot at the end, and everyone in Oklahoma City was so enthralled with it. Boom! Here comes Gasol. Good night.
Worked his way around two guys and split him and put it in.
Lisa Salters with us tonight, was there, and really, he said that wonderful atmosphere in Oklahoma City. One of the great stories of this NBA season. Here was the end of that Game 6, Hugh.
Well, people left to the left of the rim now. You're going to see Gasol. He split the two guys, worked his way in, and it was just heartbreaking. A very, very difficult loss.
And credit those fans in Oklahoma City as Ilyasova hits the first free throw. The second that game ended, and Westbrook had a halfway decent look for that .5. The ovation that team got that lasted for a couple of minutes. Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, where we were Friday night. It's so nice to see these cities become rejuvenated and excited for the first time in Oak City by the playoffs.
Well, very deserving Oklahoma City. Great coaching job by the staff. The players, outstanding. Durant and Westbrook and the rest of those young kids. People forget they've got guys in their low 20 years of age that were able to extend the Lakers in that type of a series.
There's a guy not yet 21, Brandon Jennings, second youngest to ever start a Game 7 in the NBA. Derrick Rose is about a week younger when he did it for the Bulls last year against Boston. Nice cut inside by Joe Johnson to take the lead up to 20 for the Hawks at home.
Mike, they're functioning at a high cylinder, right? They're right at the top. They look smooth. They have great spacing today. They're making their outside jump shot. They miss. They beat you on the offensive glass. Score with second chance of one. This is the best at the defensive end. They have been terrific today. But we have to remember, they're not doing it against a large or talented front line.
It's a Milwaukee timeout. It's a 20. It becomes a full on a very pretty day for Hawks fans. Scott Skiles' team doesn't really have the horses. Mike Woodson's trying to get his guys to play at max effort. A little bit of their huddle talk a moment ago.
Come on, guys. Hey, we got to flat play harder. We got to play harder. We got to contest shots, We got to get down and help. We got to recover with speed. You got to take it a possession at a time. I'm just telling you. You get stops, we get out and run. Come on, get back in this game. Let's go. Fight our way back.
We always talk about Scott Skiles and his scrappy nature and his playing career. Let's not slight Mike Woodson's playing career as well. 20-point-a-game scorer at Indiana during his 4 years in Bloomington. He went to the same high school here as David Letterman and Marilyn Quayle, the former vice president, dating Quayle's wife. Salmons knocks it down to make it an 18-point game. Woodson played 11 years in the league. 6 different teams. Knicks, Nets, Kansas City / Sacramento when the Kings moved out west. Clippers and Houston as well. Bibby off the mark, rebounded by Ilyasova.
Well, I like what we're seeing from both coaches. Scott Skiles is not going to give up. They were down 23 in the fourth quarter the other night, got it to 7. Now, Mike Woodson knows that his team runs these lulls at 4 and 5 minutes. So he knows because of what happened during the regular season and in the first 6 games here. So both guys, one guy is trying to energize, the other guy is trying to be cautious without panicking.
Ilyasova put in the miss by Primoz Bresic, who has checked in. Skiles going anywhere for an answer. Joe Johnson backing it on Salmons. Crawford takes Stack off the dribble. They are getting to the rim with ease.
Well, come on, Jamal Crawford has changed the whole game, Mike. He's 4 for 8 from the floor, plus he's been on the line 4 for 4. He's making so much happen. And then if you do trap him, he'll make the right pass.
This pass by Ilyasovic, and he is able to find Primoz Bresic inside. His 8th year now in the league out of Slovenia.
Yeah, I like the fact that Scott did this, because what he wants now is a big body down and low. Maybe they'll get some offensive boards, but more important, if you get in the painted area, he's an easy target to hit.
Bresic, who played 59 minutes and 14 games this season. Because of the injury, they have to go deeper in their big man rotation. 1 to shoot for Johnson, who's had a tough shooting first half, and maybe Milwaukee can get it down to 11 or 10 before the break.
That's all you're asking for.
Jennings cut off by Crawford. Gave a little fancy dribble to get to the rim.
See, that's a hesitation. I step back. The defender thinks that he can close you out, and then you run to the right. And we all know that Jennings does not go to the right a number of times. So they tried to push him that way. Unfortunately, no rotation on the baseline.
Bucks hoping for a stop and score to get it to a dozen or 11 before the half. Crawford, who's had the hot half. Johnson never had it, and a shot clock violation. Joe Johnson struggling, 2 of 8 from the field. And add that turnover and a chance for the Bucks to get it down to 12 or 11.
Well, you got 7 seconds here, so you got plenty of time. Get a field goal here. Everyone will go in at halftime. You're not happy with how you shot or how you performed on the defensive boards, but it would be uplifting.
West and Evans, the defensive stoppers, come in. Jennings going to try to get a run on it with 3 seconds.
Got plenty of time here. Oh, good. Nice move.
Foul is called, and the Hawks did not have a foul to give, so we will get free throws from Jennings with 1.5 to go. And that's a little bit, Hubie, the disbelief of Woodson's face.
Now, just keep an eye on this right now. See, he looked for the contact. He went right in, drew the contact. Once he got it, stepped back. It was just too bad because usually he'll shoot a 3 in that position.
But you saw Woodson's face, and it's exactly what you heard in that timeout there. Without panicking, he's trying to tell our guys, look, we're up big. Don't think we're all set. End of the half. The lead was 20. Milwaukee closes on a 9-2 run. Still, Atlanta should feel very good. Up 53-40 in the 7 here at home. Trying to win a home game 7 for the 2nd consecutive year. And Al Horford nearly out-rebounded the Bucks in the first half. He's standing by with Lise.
Hey, Mike. Al, you guys had a 20-point lead just a couple of minutes ago. What didn't you like about the way you closed out the quarter?
I think we relaxed a little bit. You know, we were rushing shots in the offensive end, and, you know, we just got to clean that up. We had a great first half.
The difference in the game has been on the boards. What's been the key to your dominance on the boards?
I mean, we're just, you know, boxing out. You know, we're not switching so much, so it allows me to stay inside and get those rebounds.
All right, thanks for your time. Mike.
Yeah, they are plus 14 on the rebounds, and Horford has 11 boards on his own. The entire Bucks team has just 14. It's a Game 7 with the Orlando Magic waiting. We'll break down what happened in the first half of the season's first Game 7 with the T-Mobile halftime report. Stuart Scott, John Barry, Magic and Michael. Wilbon, that is. I love you, Wilbon, but it just sounded good to say Magic and Michael. All the guys hanging out in the studio watching hoops with us on this doubleheader playoff Sunday. They'll have the T-Mobile coming up in a bit. And then the second half back here in Atlanta as the Hawks try to move to the second round. They lead Game 7 over the Bucks by 13.